Hi everyone, my name is Leah Kopke and I'm a 3D motion design freelancer. I also have a podcast where each week I cover another 3D modeling tool for Cinema 4D. Hello and welcome. Today we're going to go over the fill brush for sculpting inside of Cinema 4D. We're over halfway through covering all the sculpting tools, so I think that's very exciting. Let's go ahead and get started. Here we are inside of Cinema 4D. What I'd like to do at this point is drop a sphere into our scene. I'll go ahead and change this to be a hexahedron because I like having quads on my spheres. And I'll change this to be garage shading lines. I'll increase the segments to 100. That looks good. Now I want to make this editable, so I'll hit the C hotkey. So this sphere is editable. You can also use this button down here to make it editable. And now that we've done that, let's change from our standard mode over to our sculpting mode right over here. So I'll click on this and you'll see our screen transfers over and we have our brushes over here. Now we've covered many of these at this point, and today we are going to go over the fill brush. So it's right down here, it's this one. So I'll go ahead and just start sculpting on this to begin with. So I'm going to change our sculpting layers to our objects so that I can see this one here. And I'm going to go ahead and use our brush tool on here, our draw brush, just so that we can begin building up the surface a little bit. I'll increase our strength. Because I think if we already have a little bit of a pattern going on here and we have a surface built up, you'll be able to see how the fill brush works a little bit easier. So I'm just doing a little bit of a crisscross pattern here so we have something to work with. I can make that one a little bit cleaner. There we go. So we have a little bit of a crisscross pattern on this. And the fill brush fills in the crevices of your model. So that's why I wanted to go ahead and do that. So you can see that it's keeping the top surface as high as it was, but the lower surface is being raised up to meet that top surface here as I use the fill brush. So it fills in those crevices basically and fills in those areas, and that's how it works. It might be also good to show how this works on a cube, so I'm going to go ahead and grab our cube over here. I'm going to increase our segments, like so. And then I'm going to make this editable. I'm going to go into polygon mode. I'm going to use UL. And I'm just going to select every other loop here across this. So we went over loop selection in a past video, and I'm happy to include that link to that video in here in case if you're interested. And then I'll use MT in order to extrude this just a little bit, like that. And let's try using the fill brush on this. So you can see that it's bringing up that lower surface to meet that higher surface here. That's what the fill brush does. And I think it's easier for you to see it here on this flatter surface than what it was maybe to see on the sphere, on this more organic form. But that's what this tool does. It tries to calculate the lower surface and bring it up to the higher surface. Many of the settings here are the same as what we've gone over in the past, so let's talk a little bit about that. I'll click on our fill brush over here so you can see our settings for it and our attribute manager. You can see that all these basic settings we've already covered in the past for other brushes. I'll leave a link to that episode, but nothing new is here. All familiar, nice and familiar is good. Everything in the settings is basically the same as what we've covered in the past. Everything from size, strength, and draw mode. You can adjust the size of your brush hair as usual, as we've covered in the past. You can adjust the strength of your brush as well as in other brushes we've covered. Your stamp settings, we've covered stamp before. We have episodes on all the settings for the stamp tab, all the settings for the settings tab, all the settings for the stencil. So I won't bore you with repeating that information again, but I'll leave links to those in case if you're new. Now, the one thing that changes a little bit from brush to brush is the modifiers. So we'll turn on the modifiers. The modifiers allow you to use multiple brushes at the same time. So you can mix the fill brush with the smooth brush by turning both of these on. And that combines those two brushes. We've gone over the smooth brush before. You can see that that's a little bit of a different effect. It's both raising that lower surface and it is smoothing it out all at the same time. So it looks a little bit different here than when we initially used the brush. And you can affect the strength of the smooth right over here. So the strength of the brush. So this is very customizable. You can use the draw brush with the fill brush at the same time. That'll look a little bit different. You can use the pinch brush with the fill brush at the same time. And that'll have a different effect. We've gone over the pinch before, so you should be feeling pretty familiar with that. It pulls in those vertices in closer, so you can see that these are all starting to come in closer. And you can again adjust the strength here. You can use the inflate. The inflate's fun. I want to cover the inflate soon, but before I do so, we'll need to cover the masking tool because that really comes into play with the inflate brush a little bit more than other brushes we've gone over. So that's basically how this tool works. I hope you found this helpful. If you'd like to learn more 3D modeling tools, I come out with another episode each week. So I hope you stay tuned and you'll be notified when the next episode comes out if you hit like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching and happy 3D modeling.